Hi friends, Aaron here. You're probably wondering why we're releasing old episodes. Well, while Chris is busy editing our new episode, I decided to go back and clean up the audio a little bit on our old ones so we can finally put them up on YouTube. So I upped the volume because those episodes, the old ones, were frustratingly low compared to the new ones. And I did my best to clean up the audio, although Joe's was basically a lost cause. It still kind of sounds like crap. Anyway, there's also about 15 minutes of extra content that I originally cut the first time around in order to make the episodes shorter. So I kind of like George Lucased it by adding it back in, as well as some clips from the interviews that for some reason we mentioned but didn't actually end up watching because apparently I thought it would be better to just describe them. I don't know. Anyway, the episodes are also split up to match our current format, which with some added transitions between segments. Which I think if we're comparing this to the original re-release, I'd say that's probably my inserted Jabba the Hutt scene. We also originally recorded this episode before we added Chris as a host of the podcast. So I took the liberty of including clips of him laughing from random episodes he was in, so it seems like he recorded with us but didn't really have anything good to contribute. Although I guess that's not much of a change on that front, am I right? Erica is here and laughing, by the way. She's just doing it silently. So anyway, that's all. I'm done. We'll have a new episode dropping soon, but in the meantime, enjoy this awkward-ass episode where I get the name of the movie wrong within the first 20 seconds. So that'll be fun. Oh, also, I just wanted to make clear that what I said about Chris was a joke and completely untrue. The part about him being in the episode, that's not true. What I said about him not having anything worthwhile to say...
Get the party, Richter!
Hi guys, welcome to See What the Party, Richter. I'm Aaron Frescus, and with me, as always, is Joseph Beck Castro.
Hello.
Hey, so this week we're going to be watching and discussing Arnold's 1996 hit. I don't know if you want to call it a hit. The Eraser, which, can you classify that as that or not?
Yeah, I think it was pretty big at the time.
I don't know. I haven't really looked into it yet.
Definitely a hit. I think we should... If it's not a hit, we should say, this not hit.
Okay.
Because basically all his movies have been hits.
True. Well, yeah. Okay, anyway, so you picked this one, which was totally fine by me, because I am indecisive as fuck when it comes to picking stuff. And this also never would have popped into my head, because it's, right up there with End of Days as far as, 90s movies that I forgot he made. So is there any particular reason you want to do this one next?
Interesting, because I feel like after this one, In the Days is kind of the start of
the downfall.
Yeah, this was
this was actually right in the middle of it, because I looked up where I was looking at what year it was, and I was like, oh shit, it was before, it was in between. I think it was True Lies and Jingle All the Way or something like that. So yeah. It was right in the middle of, which it just wasn't as big as either of those ones. I'm not really sure how big Jingle All the Way was, but I remember True Lies being big.
Well, I watch Jingle All the Way every year, so
yeah,
it's a pretty good movie. But yeah, I feel it's kind of it's the 90s version of Running Man, which we did for the past episode, where it's just kind of one of those movies where you're like, yeah, it's pretty good, but it's not a classic. But it's not a weird one, like Raw Deal or Hercules in New York, or anything like
Pumping Iron.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is anyone's? I'm assuming this isn't on your favorites list.
No.
Do you think that this is anyone's favorite Arnold movie? Where they're like, oh my god, they're like,
no,
well, you're like, what's your favorite movie? T2? No, Eraser.
Yeah. What? The Tom York album? No, I think there's probably some, well, he'd be an adult now, but some kid out there who had the VHS, and just watched a shitload of it when he was, 8. And it's like, oh man, I love that movie.
That makes sense.
Sure, that person exists somewhere, but, just abstractly, I don't know what word I would use, but just looking at it overall, I don't think it's, anybody's favorite or even in the top 5 for Arnie movies, but
do you remember the last time you watched it?
I think we watched it maybe 2 or 3 years ago, so it was recently. And the thing is, I don't really remember much about it.
Yeah, me neither.
So goes to show you about that movie.
Did you watch it just because like you saw it on something, or did you actually like seek it out?
It was probably on something.
Okay.
You know.
And you're like, this is one you haven't seen, and then afterwards you're like, I'm sorry about that.
Jeez, it's not that bad. She knows what she's getting into.
I actually don't remember anything about the movie. I remember an alligator, and that he fights one, which I remember. I'm pretty sure there's a behind the scenes thing for that, which I'm looking forward to finding. Because I think it was CG when it was like bad CG.
Yeah.
And then,
so are you saying this movie's been erased from your memory?
Exactly. He did his job.
Do you remember the line he says after he shoots the alligator?
He said, your luggage, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if he has another line in that. But yeah, I also remember Vanessa Williams.
Yep.
But not much about her. Like, I don't even know was it like Ed Harris or someone that was the villain?
I think Ed Harris is the bad guy. You know.
Oh, no. Is it James Caan?
Yeah, they're the same person, aren't they?
I don't know. I'm like...
yeah, it's either one of those guys. Because, they play the guy. You're right, I think it might be James Caan.
Yeah, because I'm like trying to think, like, who the hell was in that movie?
Yeah, Arnie works for the government, but the government is bad, and he's got to, get out of Dodge for some reason.
He makes one mention of the movie in the book, because I realized when I was reading it, he starts talking about Batman and Robin, and I was like, I looked at the when the movies came out, I was like, oh damn, he just completely skipped over Eraser, and he hasn't even mentioned Jingle All the Way yet. So I'm really curious. I'm sure I can find something, but yeah, he mentioned something about. It was like something about a stunt that's all that he mentioned about it. But yeah, there wasn't a whole lot.
Yeah.
Let's see.
It's weird that he mentions that much about Batman and Robin, because I don't even think that as an Arnie movie.
Well,
it's just like a movie he's in.
He had his heart surgery, and that's kind of why he was talking about it.
Was his heart? Did they put a bunch of iron on his heart? And his heart just like pumping.
Exactly. Did you watch it in theaters?
I don't think so. This is just kind of a movie that's always been just like I've known it existed, and I've known I've seen it.
Yeah.
But I don't remember when or where.
Yeah.
Or anything.
I don't think I watched this for a few years after it came out.
Yeah.
Like it didn't have like I think at the time it didn't have the like thing that grabs you about his movies,
Yeah, like an interesting story.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go. Or there's always something that grabs you. He's Mr. Freeze. He's a robot. He has a kid. He's a kindergarten cop.
I'm a cop, you idiot.
Exactly.
Yeah, this one's just like he's gonna kick some ass, and that's about it. But not like, there's no interesting sci-fi story or anything like that.
Yeah.
Or like comedy. Yeah. It's just, like True Lies has a good story.
Mm-hmm. Plus it's like James Cameron. So I think that helps.
Yeah. It definitely does. But yeah, this is just a movie.
It sounds like you're looking forward to watching it.
Well, I was until, you started bringing this up. Now you're bringing me down.
Oh, sorry.
It's all right. Well, that's why we want to get these, we're building it up for our audience. We start getting into better movies.
Yeah, exactly.
More excited.
Exactly. So once we get a little better at this. Yeah, it's a pregame.
A bit off topic.
Yes.
Up here in the Pacific Northwest, they call pre-gaming pre-funking. I don't know why. It makes no sense.
Like when you're drinking?
Yeah, like you want to pre-funk before the game? Like, what?
Did you look at them like they're stupid the first time they mentioned that? They said it like that?
Yes.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
And I can't think of a place that's less funky than Seattle.
Really?
It's like, yeah. Unless you're thinking of like, dreaded white guys, in a funk band.
Oh no. So it's lost all its Nirvana luster or whatever?
Well, I wouldn't say Nirvana's funky. I'm thinking like funk music or
okay.
Blaxploitation films and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, definitely. It seems a little too white up there for that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not really. I've only been up there once, and yeah, it was pretty white. They did have
It's very white.
the marijuana shops open though before they had them in California.
Yeah, but the thing is, like in California, I worked at the Fillmore in San Francisco, and you were able to smoke inside. You can smoke inside, like smoke weed inside, like any music venue there. And I remember I was working, and then some guy, like randomly in the middle of the floor, like lit a cigarette.
Yeah,
and like 3 security guards came and tackled him. Yeah, and then one guy was just like hitting a pipe, like, "Oh shit, sucks for that guy."
right next to them as they're cuffing him.
Yeah.
Dude,
but in Seattle,
you gotta follow the rules, man.
Yeah, no smoking, bro. But in Seattle, there's no, smoking weed inside like music venues or anything. So
it's just drinking.
Just drinking, yeah.
What a bunch of squares.
Yeah, even though it's been legal up here a lot longer.
That's weird that they do that in San Francisco.
Yeah, I think that's the weird part, to tell you the truth.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's definitely
I think it's
weird.
just the whole Bay, because like
they have like their own set of rules.
Yeah, they're just like, fuck it.
Okay.
I mean, I don't smoke weed because it does not sit well with me. But my friend and I went to a Wu-Tang concert, and I got hotboxed in there, and I got out, and I was just like, holy shit, I'm high. I got hotboxed at a Wu-Tang concert.
You should try to watch one of the movies while high.
Yeah. You said you should or you shouldn't?
Should watch one of the movies high. I don't know.
Hey, mate, you're so down on this one. Maybe it's this one you should watch while you're high.
An Eraser?
Yeah.
I don't know. I usually freak out when I'm high, so...
Yeah, me too.
I don't know what would be good to watch with that. Not this movie, because I wouldn't be able to follow it. Like, anytime I get high, Erica's like, can you please, just don't do that again, please? It's like annoying to her. So, like the last time I got high, I didn't know where I was. Even though I was at home. Like, I tried to get rid of allergies by I was eating edibles, though. I don't know if that makes a huge difference, but I ate an edible, and she was washing dishes, and I was trying to get rid of my allergies, and I ate it, and then I started playing video games, and I was playing with baseball, and I ended up getting too high to play that, and I kept eating more because it wasn't working fast enough, even though I know it's going to take a while. And then she was washing dishes, listening to music. I ended up slamming the door. She came in there. She's like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Your music's just too harsh for me." And she was listening to like Blink 182 or something like that. It was like, she's like, okay. And I was like, I think it might have been lit actually, but it was still like a pop punk sort of thing to where I was like, geez. And then I was like laying there, and I spent like 10 minutes looking. It didn't plateau, because I ate too much of it, so it just kept getting higher and higher.
Yeah. And
I like spent like 5-10 minutes just looking at myself in the mirror, like, you'll be fine, you're gonna die. But she came in, and then I don't know. It was basically like, do you want to watch something? Sure. So she I put on 30 Rock, but I accidentally put on an episode that someone dies in and they have a funeral for, and I started freaking out because of that. And then we watched Futurama, and I was like, I remember it taking like a second, like I wasn't watching it at all, but I remember it taking a second, like the joke they tell the joke, and then like a second later I'd be like, we'd
sound super high.
Yeah.
Well, you made 2 fatal mistakes. One is eating an edible and thinking it's not hitting you and eating more.
Yeah.
That destroys everybody.
Yeah.
And 2, watching something, like not planning on what you're going to watch, like watching someone with a funeral. Oh, and 3, you looked in a mirror, which is always bad.
I thought that was only for like mushrooms or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same sort of hallucinogenic thing.
I did that too with mushrooms, and I was like, holy shit, and scared myself.
Yeah.
Like anytime with mushrooms, I think the only time I ever was okay with mushrooms was when I did them with you, and that was a tiny bit. And then it was just like, ooh, this is nice.
Yeah, microdosing is where it's at, man.
Yeah, because otherwise I ate like the whole bag of what I had, and then it was like, why is my bedroom door breathing? What's in there? And then like there was one time when I was with Ben, and we left the apartment to go somewhere, and we left the beer inside. He's like, hey, go get the beer. And it was my apartment, and I looked back at the apartment building, and it was like, I was like, I'm not going back in there, man. It wasn't, I think he might have been breathing or something. I was like, that place is evil. There's no, he's like, just go get because he was sober. He's like, just go get the fucking beer. Just like running in there and then running out, like, holy shit. And then like a half hour later when we got to where we were, right before I started sobering up a little bit, I remember him telling a joke and then him like laughing at it, being like, kind of like, huh? And then me just being like, I don't know what you just said. I'm really, really sorry. Like, I honestly don't know what you said, but yeah, I'm sorry. And right then I could tell him like, okay, he's kind of annoyed. Drugs are bad.
Well, drugs are good, but it sounds like you're just taking too much.
Yeah, I can't do any sort of stuff like that. My only drug is watching Arnold movies, apparently. Anyway, any other thoughts for this movie before we watch it?
No, I'm interested to see. I don't know. I said no and then continued. Yeah, I'm interested to see. Like, this is something else. Cracked brought up in one of their videos forever ago. I'm interested to see the like racial dynamic. Because like there's this whole thing where a black guy can never kiss a white girl like on screen.
Yeah.
For like ever.
But you can go the other way.
Yeah. So I don't remember if it's like you would just assume because every fucking Hollywood movie's got to have romance in it. You just assume that they would like get together at the end. So I'm wondering if
I don't think
they actually.
I don't think they do, but I don't remember.
And I'm wondering if if that was how it was originally written, or once they hired her, they changed it.
It boggles me that she was popular enough. I don't mean to shit on Vanessa Williams, but like that she was popular enough to be in like a blockbuster movie, or what was supposed to. I honestly don't know how well the movie did, but what was supposed to be a blockbuster movie.
Well, I think she was like, she won Miss America or Miss Universe, and she was married to Rick Fox, maybe.
Oh, really?
And then I think so, but I think she was like, coming up, and there was this like, like one of the first big things she was going to be in.
Yeah. And then I'm sure there's more interviews because it's way more in the prime, and it's way more like the movies when they promoted him, they like blew him up. Like he was from his book, he was very, very into promoting his movies and stuff like that. And the more control he got over him, the more like publicity or whatever he did for him. So I'm assuming this movie has a bunch. Anyway, any other thoughts before we watch it?
I think that's pretty much.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
You're late. Traffic.
Hi guys, so we're back after watching the movie, which by the way is called Eraser, not the Eraser. I honestly didn't notice. Like I was like, oh, I've been saying it wrong, but it's not like it's a huge deal. But anyway, before we get into going through the movie, I found a couple of like interesting like pre-production stuff that I wanted to share, as well as like a quick clip of Arnold that's telling a funny story.
Sounds good.
So first off, let's get the credit stuff out of the way. The movie was directed by Chuck Russell, who previously directed The Mask and Nightmare on Elm Street, as well as directing The Scorpion King after this, which starred The Rock.
Which Nightmare on Elm Street?
3.
Oh.
Is that Dream Warriors or something? Dream Child, maybe?
I don't know. Well, yeah, there's the first one, and there's Freddy's Revenge, and then one of them is Dream Warrior Child, something.
Yeah. So, the movie was produced by Arnold Kopelson and his wife Anne, who'd made some pretty big movies before this, including Seven, The Fugitive, and Falling Down. But it was written by Tony Puryear and Waylon Green, with a story credit by Michael Chernuchin. But apparently William Wisher and Frank Darabont were brought in while the movie was in production to do some revisions on the script.
Frank Darabont, yeah.
Yeah. So, which I guess he does a lot of writing.
Yeah, and for those that don't know him, off the top of my head, I know he did Shawshank Redemption. He was the director of that, which is one of the rare movies that's actually better than the book, and I'm saying that as a big Stephen King fan.
Isn't it a short story?
Yeah, it's like a novella or short story, which it's pretty much the same, but I think the movie was just better. And he did The Mist as well, correct?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Was that good?
Yeah, didn't you see it?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I remember reading but what it was about. Some mist.
That's actually a movie that's better than the book as well. Written and directed by Frank Darabont.
I was reading about how they changed the end of it.
Yeah, specifically for the end of it. So I'm not going to spoil that for those who haven't seen. And he also was responsible for, I believe, the first 2 seasons of The Walking Dead.
I think the first season, and then they went cheap on him, so he quit.
Yeah, and
like they cut his budget.
Yeah, so the good parts of The Walking Dead. That's kind of been up and down, but so he's got some a good resume going for him.
I was just reading something about him where he was talking about...
Oh, and Green Mile, of course. Man, he does a lot of Stephen King stuff.
He wrote something... What was it? What was I just reading? It was like... I think it might have been like a Star Wars thing or something like big that he wrote, but then the career... that's why I was like, I think it was
The Young Adventures
George Lucas.
Of Indiana Jones?
No, they didn't end up using the script because the person kept changing it, like kept demanding changes. I'm pretty sure it was George Lucas, but I'm not positive. Like he wrote a draft for Star Wars or Indiana Jones or something. No, it was Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
he was trying to write the Kingdom of the Crystal, the 4th one, but George Lucas kept asking for changes, and he's like, "Fuck this."
I wonder what changes he was asking for.
Man, I read an article.
Make it shittier.
Yeah, I think the aliens was something because even Spielberg was like, I shouldn't have bended about having him include the aliens in that.
Yeah, well, I can't talk too much shit because I've never seen it, so. Nor have I seen the original ones in like 20 years.
Those movies are good.
Yeah.
But anyhow, so the movie was written specifically for Arnold, who was just huge at that time. Was actually ranked the 9th most powerful actor in Hollywood in 1996 by Entertainment Weekly.
When is he not huge, though? Like, he's always been jacked.
Exactly. Well, do you remember how big of a deal he was at the time? Because I remember his movies were always like huge events that pretty much everyone looked forward to seeing.
Oh, yeah. No, he was like number 1, A-list star,
Yeah.
Like whenever it was like a new movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger, it was like the big thing.
Exactly. Like, I think this might have been the last one.
Yeah, because
that was kind of like that.
Yeah, because Batman and Robin is not like an Arnold film.
That
He's
one.
just in that one. And then after that, it's like Sixth Day.
End of Days.
End of Days and then Sixth Day. But yeah, he was, like that's like kind of what like Marvel movies are now. That's what like Arnold movies were back then.
That's true. Yeah, like in the 90s.
Yeah.
Him and Stallone, basically, I think.
Yeah.
But the movie was supposed to be a throwback to his films from the 80s. And if you think about it, it kind of has like that kind of feel to it.
Especially that sweet like guitar riffs that are in there. Like
yeah. So it had an initial budget of $70 million, which eventually ballooned to $100 million. I'm not completely sure if this is true, but apparently it was rumored that the producer and the director didn't really like each other, and Arnold Schwarzenegger ended up being their go-between when they eventually stopped talking to each other. Okay, so the movie opened on June 21st, 1996, with its premiere about a week earlier at the Olympic Village in Atlanta, and they screened it for the athletes competing in the Summer Games.
Hmm.
Yeah, and if that's not cool enough, they also got the Goo Goo Dolls to perform before the movie.
Yeah, man, that's peak 96.
Every time I hear that Ira song, the lyrics are always like, when everything's made to be broken, I just want you to jizz on my hand. I just want you to jizz on my hand. What?
That's so dumb.
I don't know. So anyway, the movie made $242 million worldwide and was number 1 at the box office its opening weekend, but then was bumped to number 2 the following week by the Eddie Murphy movie Nutty Professor. This was actually Arnold's last movie to make over $100 million until Terminator 3 was released. So surprisingly, I couldn't find much as far as behind the scenes videos or interviews, which kind of surprised me. But which is weird because, as I already mentioned, this was still when he was basically at the top of his game. Would you call this top of his game, or like a few years before, like around like at Last Action Hero?
Yeah, I'd say basically anything before this. Like he was still just as famous, and I don't really think it's anything to do with him. I just think this movie's not very good. It just kind of, it's fine.
Well, especially because True Lies is the one that came out before this, and that movie's awesome.
Yeah, True Lies, and then of course Last Action Hero, which is a satire on himself. So
yeah, the promotional stuff I found was an Entertainment Tonight exclusive look thing that's about 45 seconds long, but really isn't worth going into because it's basically just John Tesh giving a quick summary of the movie while showing some behind the scenes clips. I also found a clip from Blockbuster, like a Blockbuster video commercial advertising its video release. Then a clip from At the Movies with Siskel and Ebert. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Did you ever watch that? Okay, it was... No? Their movie review show?
No, we didn't get much TV back in the day. We had, basically, till we moved to San Marcos, we had 1.5 channels. So, like, one channel came in good, and then the other channel came in sometime. So,
damn,
watched a lot of...
What'd you watch?
A lot of Murphy Brown, really. Got into that show a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad that you know what that is, because I was wondering if you actually knew what that was.
Murphy Brown?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Or had seen it, not just know what it is.
Oh, yeah, no. Watched that a lot. I used to have my grandma record like Tiny Toons and The Simpsons and stuff from her house, and she'd mail us the VHSs. It's pretty dope.
It's like a little kid drugs.
Yeah, exactly. Like getting my shipment of kid meth. And played a lot of video games, but for the most part, just being outside and doing chores and shit. So
cool.
Oh, X-Men. I used to watch a lot of X-Men cartoons because it was on at 3, and it was before my dad got home when shit got real. So I'd watch it. Then they moved the start time till 4, and then that was after my dad got home, so I couldn't watch X-Men anymore.
Have you watched that since, like, on Disney Plus or anything?
Yeah, watched a few episodes.
It's fucking, like, serious as fuck.
Yeah, it's pretty hardcore. The first episode, there's the guy Mimic or something, and he's like Morph. Oh yeah, that guy's super annoying. You're like, what? Why did I even watch this? Back? Yeah, and then he dies in the first episode. Like, oh okay, yeah, better off that way. Also, Gambit is still badass, and I still don't know why he's not in the movies. Mainly because
petite.
Yeah, mainly because probably if they had him, then Wolverine wouldn't seem as cool. So they're like, oh, we can't have somebody outshining huge jacked man. So. It's lost for the rest of us. So
Siskel and Ebert basically said the movie's stupid, but they loved it anyway, and they gave it 2 thumbs up. Unlike the last movie, I did actually manage to find a few clips from talk shows featuring the actors. One was a 2019 interview with Vanessa Williams on a daytime talk show called The Talk, which I haven't seen, but I think is similar to The View. Anyways, she talks about how the producers asked her to lose weight for the role. So she told them, quote, "I was asked to come in to meet for a racer with Arnold Schwarzenegger. As a singer, it's a matter of how well you sing, not if you can fit into the outfit. So I wasn't used to being judged by how skinny I was. I remember being asked by the producer, well, we'd like you to lose some weight. And then she says, I literally went on a diet. I considered lipo just to be able to be on screen. Which kind of doesn't surprise me that they asked her that because I think being an actress in Hollywood would kind of suck. But
yeah.
So the second one I found was an interview with James Caan on the Rosie O'Donnell show, which was just super awkward. I guess Rosie O'Donnell's favorite movie is Funny Girl, which I've never seen, but he's in it.
Oh yeah, that's with
Barbra Streisand.
Yeah, it's a whole big musical like show tunes thing. Laura's told me a lot about it.
Okay, so they talk about that for like half the interview, and he just seems like he couldn't give a shit. And at one point, she actually tries to get him to sing one of the songs with her, and he straight up just like, nope. Sorry. No. So she asks him to tell a story about it instead. And he pretends that he can't remember it before finally giving in and telling it. And he keeps making like little jabs at the producers because I think they told him, he's like, oh, the producer told me to hit my mark right here. Did I stand on it correctly? Like kind of like where it's just really awkward.
Hard to do the Rosie O'Donnell show. Not hard to star with Arnold Schwarzenegger in a big, huge hit.
Piece of cake.
Nothing.
Piece of cake.
Is he a nice guy, Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Really a nice guy.
Did you know him before you did the movie Racer?
Well, we met actually, we met at the Playboy Mansion.
Oh, really?
Many years ago.
What were you doing there, James?
I had a prescription. It was for medicinal purposes.
Oh!
I was getting over a divorce, and the doctor thought, like, this would be maybe a good thing.
Did it help?
It helped me.
Good.
I got over it.
Yeah.
I got over the heartache. I don't know what Arnold was doing there.
Well, yeah, we're married, isn't he?
There were no weights. I don't know. No.
This is before.
This was before. No, we met a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we were both looking at the same girl, and we both flexed.
Yeah.
And she came with me.
Really? See? You're built.
But you can definitely tell he doesn't want to be there the whole time, so he kind of comes off like a dick, and I'm not sure if, like, maybe that's his personality or he just didn't want to be there. I don't know.
Yeah, that seems just like how James Caan is.
Kind of like, he even called himself, I think, eccentric, but...
I'd say standoffish, but that works as well.
But then I also found a couple different interviews with the producer, that Arnold Kopelson guy. One of them was with that Bobby Wagner lady, the same one that interviewed Schwarzenegger in The Running Man.
Oh, yeah.
That one, there wasn't really a whole lot to it, but one thing that he does mention in both interviews was that the Eraser is a film for the whole family, which he was very insistent on. And he's mentioned it in a couple different interviews.
That's weird.
But then he compared Eraser to his last movie, which was Seven, which, I don't know, I guess compared to Eraser, like, that's more of a family film than the Seven.
Yeah,
so
that's true. Although, I think the only people who are family in Eraser is the Italian guy and his cousin.
Or and the two little kids that he
Oh yeah. That he parachutes from.
Yeah. But so I was able to find a couple of interviews with Arnold Schwarzenegger. One was Japanese press conference with him and the director and the producer. And he mentions in that the producer and director ended up hiring the guys that actually started up the witness protection program. They hired them as consultants for the movie.
Oh, that's cool.
So then the second interview I found is Arnold's appearance on Tonight Show to promote the movie, and they don't really talk about the movie too much. It's mostly about just what's going on in his life. Like, he talks about buying JFK's old golf clubs, which he says he paid $700,000 for. And then which I'm kind of curious if Maria Shriver was like, because I think it's her uncle.
Yeah, something like that.
And then I guess he had just gotten an honorary doctorate from somewhere, so Leno asks him about that. And he actually has a funny story about Maria Shriver that I was going to show you. It's like 45 seconds long.
But I tell you one thing. Yeah. I was ecstatic, of course, getting this degree.
Now, you're a doctor. Now, what is Maria, your wife? What does she think of you being a doctor? Is she impressed by this title?
Oh, she loves it. She was there at the ceremony. Gave another reason to buy a $1,000 dress. But I mean, yeah, but she buys a dress even when I get a speeding ticket, so it doesn't really matter. No, but she was very happy. And I remember that night when I got the degree, I flew home. I went home and I put on my pajamas and I put on some cologne. And then I went into the bedroom and I said, Maria, the doctor is ready to see you.
Really?
It was really great.
The doctor will see you now.
The doctor will see you now. But
Okay. Yeah, it's just that. I thought that was funny.
I like... A, the idea of Arnold in pajamas is funny, and B, when he said he put on his pajamas, somebody in the background was like, woo! I was like, all right. Somebody really likes pajamas, huh? Which, to be fair, I'm wearing pajamas right now, so.
But, you know, I could actually, like, see him doing that, the whole thing with him going, the doctor is here to see you now. And I just like how he's a great guest to have on talk shows, because he's, like, super charismatic. Like, almost any joke he makes, even if it's corny, it's just funny because of his accent.
Yeah.
I just wanted to do two quick things after watching the interviews that I wanted to point, or that I noticed after watching the interviews. First, it seemed like the two biggest selling points for the movie were the railgun and then the airplane scene, because both are pretty much brought up in every interview that I found.
Yeah.
And then secondly, pretty much all the advertising for this movie ruined the plot twist with that James Caan's a bad guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like Erica didn't, because she watched it with me. She didn't know, but I mean, it's kind of obvious. But yeah,
yeah, they did the same thing with Terminator 2. Also, spoilers.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, okay, so we got this with James Caan, which is the midway plot twist. You know, Terminator 2, which Arnie's a good guy, and then also Predator. Like, if you watch Predator and have no idea what it's about, you get through like the first half of the movie, you're like, this is just some war movie, you know?
Yeah.
Dylan's a son of a bitch. CA's got him pushing too many pencils, and then all of a sudden there's just like an alien, you know? That's got to be a mind fuck, but
I always catch the second half of that movie.
Or Predator?
Yeah, when the Predator's already there. So I don't know if I've ever seen the beginning of it.
Really?
Maybe.
Yeah, it's just the beginning is just the whole like war movie. There's just some bad brown people that they gotta blow up for some reason or something.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden an alien shows up.
Yeah, and starts killing them, except one guy. Well, I guess two people, but
Dutch.
Yeah, Dutch.
Oh yeah. Do you remember how we were joking that there's no way this could be anyone's favorite movie, Arnold movie?
Yeah.
I actually did find an article. I'm not going to show it. Like, we don't need to see it, but I found an article written by a guy who claims it's his favorite movie because it's the most Schwarzenegger movie he's ever made.
What?
Yeah.
That's
like the most Schwarzenegger type of movie he's ever made. So the whole article is basically about how awesome the movie is.
No, the answer to that question is Commando, 100%. Like, how's that not the most Arnold movie?
You got me. I haven't seen that movie in a long time too, so.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Alrighty, and that'll do it for this episode. Stay tuned for the next slightly less awkward episode, which I am working on now and should be released in the next few days. Until then, though.
Get the party, Richter!